Well, actually, the question that we would like to ask here is that I have actually question. So ito yung first very disturbing observation. Hindi pinadala directly. So the question that we would like to ask on this area is this. Why did Comelec use Data Center 3 server, which is not one of the listed and designated servers to receive under the Comelec Resolution 11098 Annex B? Question number 2. Why did Comelec make PPCRV, NAMFREL, media, and the two dominant parties and the Filipino people believe that the system it will use will send the election returns directly to them without passing through any intermediary? Why did they have to? Later po. Later po. At the end, as I mentioned, I will entertain questions at the end. Okay. So that's the first. The second question is that, the second area is to. Second very disturbing observation. Comelec, through its Data Center 3, was the only one that conducted the consolidation of all election returns from precincts nationwide, all by itself, without the presence or participation of PPCRV, NAMFREL, media, and the two dominant political parties. So the question that we want to ask in this area is that, why did Comelec not disclose to PPCRV, NAMFREL, media, the two dominant parties, that there will be a server that will consolidate first all the results nationwide? Bakit hindi na dinisclose? Okay. Third, very disturbing observation. There was a long delay of around 2 hours before Comelec released the first batch of consolidated election results data in the format agreed upon to PPCRB, NAMFREL, media, and the two dominant political parties. Let me read po yung report na news report na Rappler on this. Here po. According to the news report of Ms. Gemma B. Mendoza, the Rappler Digital Services Chief, let me quote her. Shortly after the 7 p.m., the Comelec results site showed that election returns had begun arriving at the data center of Comelec. So shortly after 7 p.m., news organizations stationed at the Comelec Media Transparency Server Center were expecting the first transmission of results by 7:30 p.m. End of quote. However, by 7:30 p.m., Comelec had not yet transmitted any election results to PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media, and the two dominant political parties. By 8 p.m., 1 hour, still the same. No results. In her news report, according to Gemma Mendoza of Rappler, and I quote, by the time the first batch of files was released to the other transparency servers, 60.42% of the election returns nationwide had already been received by the Comelec server. However, the file was provided in a different format from what had been previously agreed upon, causing further delays in communicating the initial results. Comelec eventually reformatted the files and sent the reformatted files to PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media. Gemma Mendoza of Rappler did not mention what time exactly her Rappler team received the first batch of the election results from Comelec in the format agreed upon by the parties. But according to Mr. Eric Alviar, NAMFREL Secretary General, when I talked to him, May 16, last week, during the presentation of NAMFREL to the media of its findings, he said it was around 2 hours to 2.5 hours before they received the first batch of election results that was readable by them in a format agreed upon by the parties. I hope Mr. Alviar is here because I want him to confirm it. Alviar. Okay. Okay. Quote and quote. pure chaos. That's how Gemma Mendoza of Rappler described in one word. Chaos. In one word. The media situation at the Comelec Media Center from 7 p.m. up to 2 a.m. Chaos. That was the situation of the media. By contrast, during the 2022 presidential elections, a total of 39,512 election returns were already received by the Comelec Transparency Server International during the first 53 minutes of counting from the time the voting closed in the 2022 elections. And these 39,512 election returns gave PBBM 20.6 million votes. Question: what really happened during those 2 hours of delay? When PPCRV, NAMFREL, media were blind on the results. When only Comelec had exclusive access and control of all the election results data from precincts nationwide. What happened during that period of 2 hours? Number 4. Oops. Sorry. Maybe someone does not want me to proceed with the presentation.
Ganda pa naman.
Gusto niyo tumi-continue tayo, i-fix lang muna nila ito para makita niyo yung
Okay na.
can someone please? I want you to see it.
Mas maganda mas maintindihan na mas.
Okay, fourth very disturbing observation. Comelec merely supplied PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media, and the 2 dominant political parties with the consolidated election results data from all precincts nationwide, which PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media used for their respective tallies of the election results. So Comelec merely supplied. Our question here is that, what if the election results data supplied by the Comelec to PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media were already manipulated or altered? Okay, number 5. A vote discrepancy of around 5 million votes was discovered by the media teams. But it was only Comelec who performed the cleaning process, the paglilinis process all by itself, without the presence or participation of PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media. So may na-discover na vote discrepancy of around 5 million, but it was all Comelec who did the cleaning and the paglilinis all by itself. All by itself. Without the presence of PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media. Our question here in this area is that, how come COMELEC conducted the cleaning or paglilinis of the vote discrepancy all by itself? Bakit hindi niya in-invite yung presence or participation of PPCRV, NAMFREL, and the media? 6 very disturbing observation. Thousands of voters complained that their VVPATs or voters' receipts did not reflect the list of candidates they voted for. May nadagdag, may nabawas. Many also complained that the ballots issued to them were pre-shaded or where the names of certain candidates naka-shaded na. Our question in this area is this: when the voting machines issued VVPATs or voters' receipts that added or removed certain candidates from the list of candidates voted for by the voters, were they due merely to machine mistakes? Or were they part of a planned manipulation that was poorly executed? Second question in this area: when a number of ballots were pre-shaded, ibig sabihin, yung names of certain candidates were shaded, was it the machine that performed the shading? Can the machine perform the shading? Or is it humans? Or is it the people who perform the shading? If it were the people who perform the shading, then dapat yung mga election officials in those precincts with complaints of pre-shaded ballots should be charged for election offenses. Because sila yung nag-issue ng ballots with pre-shaded names. Seventh, very disturbing observation. In the 2019 midterm elections, the total overvotes was 1,170,331. In the 2025 midterm elections, NAMFRA reported that the total overvote was 17,028,780. NAMFREL said that from 2010 to 2022 elections, the overvotes averaged only at 1.5% to 2.5%. But in the 2025 elections, the overvote reached 29.89%. The question that we would like to ask here was this: are these 7 million plus overvotes the results of mere voters' mistakes or the sensitivity of the ballot paper used by COMELEC? Or are they products of a planned manipulation that was imperfectly executed? We don't know the answer. We're just asking questions. And number 8, which is the last, COMELEC changed the program installed in the ACMs and used an updated version, 3.50, which did not go through source code review and independent certification by IT experts as required under Section 12 of RA 9361. Our question here is, how come COMELEC did not disclose version 3.50 at the very start? Bakit ang source code review nila is 3.4? How come COMELEC did not submit 3.50 for source code review and independent certification by IT experts? So our group, we want honest, transparent, and credible elections, not only orderly and peaceful elections. If you want the full copy of this with our explanations, we can send it to you. You can email us at this email address. We'll send it to you. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat, Atty. Alex. At ipinaliwanag mo na ating mga nakakapagdamdamin ng mga issue dito sa Butuan noong nakaraang eleksyon. Ngayon po, magbubukas na po yung ating open forum. At